Hey guys, I'm Jesse from the YouTube channel Jesse the Reader, and today I'm taking over Penguin Teen in celebration of the upcoming release of A Map of Days by Ransom Riggs. This hits shelves on October 2nd, and to get you prepared and to refresh your mind on what's already happened in the series, today I'm going to be recapping everything that goes down in the first book, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That way you can refresh your mind on vital things that happen in book 1 and get prepared for A Map of Days. I can't touch on everything, but I'll be sure to give you a quick recap. Without further ado, let's get peculiar. Spoilers for book 1 coming in 3, 2, 1. Jacob Portman grows up hearing all these crazy stories about these peculiar kids that his grandfather grew up with that had all these crazy abilities. As a child, Jacob believes these stories, but as he grows up, the charm kind of wears off. And he starts to see them as stories made up by his grandfather who has a bit of a screw loose. One day, he's working at Smart Aid, trying to get fired, when all of a sudden he receives a call from his grandfather who is in a panic. He pleads with Jacob in a voice of desperation, asking for a key to his gun cabinet. Jacob's dad tells him not to give in to his grandfather and has him go and check on him. And what he finds is no good. His grandfather is in the backyard, severely wounded, on the verge of death, mumbling to Jacob saying, "Go to the island, find the bird, here is not safe." Which is when he sees the monster, which he assumes is behind his grandfather's attack. No one believes Jacob saw a monster. His parents think he's cuckoo. The police are like, please get this boy some help. And his only friend Ricky doesn't even believe him. Now Jacob is getting a taste of what his grandfather went through all those years when nobody believed his stories of the peculiar children. We're introduced to Dr. Golan, who is Jacob's therapist, who will play a vital role in this story, so hold on tight. Jacob decides that he wants to go to the island where his grandfather grew up because he needs to get to the bottom of this bird business. Dr. Golan is very encouraging of this trip, and Jacob's own father has some bird business that he needs to attend to for the book he's writing. So off to Wales they go. The first day trying to find the home, Jacob is pranked by two of the island kids. They said they'd take him to the home, but they end up taking him to the sheep's home for poopy children, which is not the place he was looking for. He ends up heading to the home on his own, and when he gets there, it's not what he expected it to be. It's completely wrecked and abandoned. The next day, Jacob returns to the house, and this is when he hears voices and footsteps in the house. He hears a voice call out, "Abe, is that you?" And that's when Jacob sets out running after them. He follows them through a tunnel, but ends up losing track of them. Without thinking anything of it, he makes his way back to the priest hole where he's staying, and when he gets there, he realizes that something's up, something's different. The next thing he knows, everyone in the priest hole is calling him a spy, and a girl who we later find out is Emma pops up to help save the day. And how does she do this? Well, partly by lighting the priest hole on fire. Jacob finds out that he is now in September 3rd of 1940, and all the peculiar children that his grandfather told him about actually exist. A girl who can light fire with her palms, a boy who is invisible, a girl who can lift incredibly heavy things, and so many others. He gets to Miss Peregrine and reveals to her the fact that Abe, his grandfather, has passed away. Emma was listening in on this conversation and is now an emotional wreck because her and Abe were an item. This is where Jacob learns about the fact that he is now in a loop. The day of September 3rd of 1940 continues to repeat itself within this loop. That night, Jacob has dinner with the peculiars and also gets to see Miss Peregrine reset the loop. When Jacob gets back to the priest hole, his dad is pretty concerned when he finds him dressed in clothes from the 1940s. He calls Dr. Golan, very concerned, but Dr. Golan assures him that everything is fine. The next day, Jacob returns to the loop and gets to spend the day enjoying his time with the peculiars. They put on a show for him, showcasing their abilities, and they also go swimming. But when he gets back to town, he finds that he's being accused of murdering sheep, because turns out someone's going around the island committing sheep murder, which we later find out is the habit of a hollow. They'll eat anything, human, animals, peculiars. The next day, Jacob finds out that there is another bird watcher in town, and Jacob's dad seems to be very jealous of this bird watcher. When Jacob returns to the loop later that night, he finds that the birdman is staring him down, as if he's some kind of prey. Not creepy at all, except actually really creepy. Jacob and Emma meet up and go to the shipwreck area, and we find that a romance is blossoming between these two, but more importantly, Emma finally reveals what this darkness is that's kind of looming over the peculiars. We learn of wights and hollows, who are these terrifying creatures who are after the peculiars. They want to eat them up. This is when we learn that Jacob has the same ability as his grandfather. He's able to see the hollows. After this, they find that Miss Avocet, another Imbrin, is at the home, and she's warning Miss Peregrine that other Imbrins are being abducted. Outside the loop on the island, a man named Martin was murdered. So Jacob, Emma, Enoch, and Bronwyn head out to find Martin's body and bring him back to life to question him and figure out who or what killed him. During this process, though, Dr. Golan shows up, who was Jacob's therapist among other things, and turns out he's a wight. He ends up setting this hollow Malthus on their tracks, and let me just say, it's kind of terrifying. We have a full-on battle with this hollow until eventually it ends up dead. Back through the loop, they find out that Dr. Golan has taken Miss Avocet and Miss Peregrine. Jacob Jacob, Emma, Millard, and Bronwyn set out to rescue the birds. But Millard ends up getting shot, so Bronwyn must aid him, so Jacob and Emma head off to confront Dr. Golan. At the top of the lighthouse where the confrontation happens, Dr. Golan chucks the birds into the water, and he reveals that he has plans to experiment on Embrons again. Jacob and Emma fight him, ultimately ending in Jacob shooting Dr. Golan. They only manage to rescue one of the birds as a massive U-boat has arrived, which was going to be Dr. Golan's ride. And they must get the heck out of there. We find out that the loop can't be reset because Miss Peregrine can't return back to her normal form, so they make plans to travel to another loop. This is where Jacob decides that he is going to leave his old life behind for a life with the Peculiars. Before they leave, Jacob says his last goodbyes to his father, and they bury Victor, who is Bronwyn's brother. And when all is said and done, the Peculiars have set off to find the next loop. Hopefully that hit the refresh button for you on everything that happens in book 1. Don't forget to join me on September 29th at 1 p.m. EST for the live Miss Peregrine's book club chat on the Penguin Teen Facebook. I'll also see you guys in the next video recap for book 2. Don't forget to stay peculiar, and I'll see you guys later.